FridAI, everybody. We may have a meaty one for you this week. Yeah, I will stick to AI news and not jokes. Don't forget, we are less than 2 weeks out from Accountex, and I have created an AI survival guide. So if you comment Accountex, I will get the link sent over to you for a download. It's completely free and hopefully will help you navigate the world of AI at the event. Anyway, welcome. Here I cut through the fuss and get to the facts on the big bad world of AI and what it means for us as accountants, bookkeepers and finance professionals. So let's dive in. Starting off with HMRC, who I've spoken about before, going all in on AI, is now coming to fruition. So they've just handed out 28,000 Microsoft licenses to their staff. So this is Microsoft Copilot licenses, not just the general ones. So they plan to scale this up to 50,000, and their Chief AI Officer, James Mitten, has said that they want HMRC to effectively become the most AI-enabled tax authority on the planet, which I think when I tell you a few of the headline figures, you'll understand why. And as accountants and bookkeepers, we love the numbers. So the government trialled 20,000 civil servants, and they found that Copilot saved each user around 26 minutes per user per day. And over 70% said it cut the time that they spent searching for information. And 82% said that they wouldn't want to go back to working without it, which means 18 probably would rather not have it. But the bit that really got me was in the reports, HMRC have said that they've seen around £8 billion worth of benefit over the last couple of years from less hyped and older AI, so things like machine learning and process automation. The figure 8 billion seems pretty wild to me, and I think that's kind of the tax gap. So they're saying AI is helping them close that tax gap, which means they're obviously not going to stop there. So next up, what they're saying is they want to switch on AI agents inside Copilot chat, which, going off on a slight tangent here, now has Claude built in, which is obviously the tool of the moment. So that's very, very exciting. But anyway, James Mitten, that is, because James makes him sound like an old friend of mine. James Mitten has said that he wants AI integrated into the design of the new tax regimes from the start. So all go over at HMRC, but there's 3 things that I want you to take away from this. So number 1, your clients are going to be dealing with HMRC now, and they're going to be dealing with HMRC officers who are using AI to draft letters, summarise files, pull together cases. So the tone, the volume, and fingers crossed, please, the speed of correspondence is going to change. So we need to be ready for that. Number 2, there is a fair bit of skepticism around this. So Copilot is brilliant for emails, but it struggles with complex, nuanced, data-heavy work, which I'm not sure if you know, but that's pretty much what HMRC does. So I would say expect mistakes. Expect that kind of AI drafted letters are going to have technicalities wrong and maybe, I don't know, be a little bit tighter when it comes to reviewing that correspondence from them, which I think is really annoying, but I think it's the reality. And number 3, and this is kind of bigger picture stuff, if HMRC are talking around that 8 billion tax gap and the closing and AI being used to help with that, it probably means that more inquiries, more nudge letters, more compliance activity, just generally more of everything, because that's what an AI enables people to do, enables more of things. So firms are going to likely need to help clients stay clean, well documented, and prevent kind of drowning in the influx of brown envelopes, which we are undoubtedly going to see soon. Next, we are moving over to the Big Four, and KPMG have launched something called the Ignite Financial Close Companion. What a mouthful. It is built with Workday and Google's Gemini. I'm always interested to know the reasoning behind organizations choosing certain LLMs. Anyway, in plain English, this is an AI assistant that's going to help with month-end close. So you can give it natural language instructions to start the month-end activities, if you like. You could just start with saying something like begin the close for April, and it'll just sort of kick things off. It follows a structured month-end checklist, so steps don't get missed. It's kind of like following through a method. However, I say this all the time, AI won't fix a broken process. You have to have a good structured workflow for these agents to follow, otherwise it's just going to go rogue. So it pulls down trial balances, it can spot anomalies, it can flag trends, and it gives you analysis on the numbers. And as most of these agents do, which we're seeing all the time, is it then leaves a human to review and sign it off. So an actual qualified person still has to put their name to it. this obviously could go down a whole nother rabbit hole on responsibilities and accountability, but that's not for today. I'm really pleased to see that it still needs a human to sign it off. So KPMG are actually framing this as a digital teammate. So it's not replacing the team, it's working alongside them, but it's obviously doing some work. So let's see how that pans out. I'm not being too cynical, but it does feel like it's obviously taking some part of people's jobs, so they're going to have to increase their client base, surely. Every decent finance AI launch this week has got the same pattern though. AI is doing the work, humans are reviewing it, and it is good to see that no one is kind of launching anything with the strapline of AI replacing accountants, which I guess is an opportunity for us. You know, the jobs themselves aren't going, it's just the boring tasks are, and I think KPMG are kind of leading the way with this. Okay, so I just touched on Claude, and my next big piece of news is another partnership. Their partnership team is on fire. So QuickBooks, they've announced big news over at Intuit, who have said that QuickBooks, TurboTax, Credit Karma, MailChimp, Intuit Enterprise Suite, all of the above are all now available directly inside Claude. Obviously, if you're in the UK, we don't have access to some of these tools, but for the QuickBooks users amongst us, this is still really, really great. In theory, obviously we need to try it out and make sure it does what it says on the tin. But as it's supposed to work is that instead of opening QuickBooks to pull a profit and loss, you can just ask Claude for it because of that connection, and the answer comes back inside the chat. So a few things that maybe you can actually do, I won't talk about TurboTax because that's US based, but maybe just in terms of like a few of the other tools. So QuickBooks, as I said, you could generate a profit and loss, a cash flow statement, and then look at the benchmarks against similar businesses because you've got access to that large language model who can then look at similar industries, similar regions, and do that research function all within Claude. If you're using MailChimp, for example, you can plan, you can then execute multi-channel marketing, and do these campaigns with recommended times suggested by AI for doing the kind of publication of it. There's also a bit of a bigger play to come because Intuit are rolling out a custom AI agent for mid-market businesses through Claude. So they're going to be using Claude's agent software development kit. So that's something to look out for a little bit later this year. I'm going to give this a bit more of a human spin. AI isn't actually doing the maths here. So Claude, I would say, is a little bit like the front desk. So when you ask for, say, a tax estimate, it will then send that request through to Intuit, and the actual engine is Intuit, and that will send the answers back. The AI interface the AI is essentially the interface, and then QuickBooks is doing the work. So the finance system behind the scenes is doing the work. If your clients are using QuickBooks, this changes how they might start interacting with the numbers, but it's definitely worth having a play with. And yeah, let me know how you get on because I'm really interested to see if it works as everybody hopes it will. And finally, over to Fathom. This is properly exciting, I would say, if you do management reporting. So Fathom, which loads of you already use, if you don't, this is a financial analysis and reporting tool. They've launched a new AI feature called the Commentary Writer. Honestly, from what I can see, they've really thought about this properly because it writes the commentary for your management reports. And this is where we spend quite a lot of our time. So all those hours you spend kind of explaining what the numbers mean to the clients, that's gone. That's now what the AI can do. And this is probably where you might not like my enthusiasm because I feel like this is part of that advisory piece that people keep saying AI can't do because it's now starting to do it. And I say that because it doesn't just spit out the AI waffle, not like generic AI waffle that you can totally tell is not a human. What you do is you set your business context. You only have to set this once. So maybe client goals, their strategy, their marketing position, and then you add report-specific context for each period. So maybe you want to say a competitor restaurant opened 2 doors down this quarter, and then the commentary actually reflects what's going on in that client's business based on the figures that it can see and that little bit of commentary that you've given it. The feature within this that I am impressed with, that I think really adds to that, is called symbolic attribution, which I can't help sounds like some spiritual experience I'm going to do at the beach at sunrise. But symbolic attribution, it basically means that every single number is traceable. So you can hover over any figure that you see in the report and you can see exactly where it's come from. So you're not having to second guess whether AI's kind of made it up. And big tick is that your client data isn't being sent off to trained AI models. So that is a great question to ask the vendors when you are talking to them, when they're thinking about AI features. Is it being used to train the models? The AI Accountex guide that I mentioned at the beginning of the video has 10 questions for you to use at the event, so you don't have to stand there feeling like you've got a blank headspace. So if you do want that, don't forget to comment Accountex. I'll send that over for free. Anyway, great work, Fathom. This is the kind of AI integration and features that I've been banging on about for ages. It's specific, it's traceable, and yeah, I think it's going to work really well for accountants and bookkeepers. Right then, that is your lot. Quick recap, HMRC have started their rollout of 50,000 Copilot licenses. KPMG launched an AI assistant for month-end close. Intuit are now inside Claude with their tools, and Fathom's new commentary writer is genuinely worth a look if you are using that tool. Every serious finance AI launch this week follows the same kind of recipe, I would say. The AI is doing the monotonous bits. The proper system does the calculations, so that financial tool that we engaged with in the first place, and then us as the experts and the humans, we are signing this off. That is the perfect recipe and the perfect model. A great week for AI in this industry, I would say, and if any of these have sparked any thought, excitement, rage, anything like that, drop it in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Have a great week, and I'll catch you all next FridAI.